the talk today about health and safety hazards in the outdoor environment, it's easy to forget that many health and safety problems can be traced right back to the places where we live. Mold, dust mites, carbon monoxide, radon, these are just a few of the hazards that could be harming you and your family from inside your home. Our own apartments and houses can be the source of many hazards, all of which can be reduced or avoided altogether if we take a few precautionary measures. Today we're going to follow two cooperative extension educators as they visit some neighborhood houses and work with the occupants to reduce some of the health and safety risks they may be facing in their homes. Even if you don't have extension services in your area, there are plenty of things you can do to improve the quality of health and safety in your living space. Throughout this video, we'll be providing you with tips, information, and other resources. With a little bit of effort, you can make a big improvement in your health and the health of your loved ones, and you'll be on your way to making your home a healthy home.
You've got your schedule set up for this week, right?
Around the nation, there are cooperative extension offices in many communities working hard to improve their neighborhoods and the lives of the residents. This office in Ithaca, New York, is run by Kathy Long.
Next, we have Clara Newbaker. She lives on North Aurora Street. She's 78, and she recently had a carbon monoxide leak from her heating system. She got that problem fixed, but she's now concerned with everything else. And she'd like us to come and check things out. So, Sue, would you like to take that one?
Fine. Sounds like I should bring a full kit.
Yeah, definitely. And then there's the Hernandez family. They're on 3rd Street. Rita, the wife, she has a harder time with English. Alex, can you pay them a visit as our bilingual expert?
No problem. I'm familiar with that neighborhood, too. My sister lives on 3rd Street. What is the address?
I'm on my way to Clara's house. She's lived in that house for 50 years. Her husband died 7 years ago, so I'm not sure she's maintaining it. Her grandson does come over, and I don't know if he knows the most common problems to look at. That's what concerns me. Well, I'll see what to do when I get there. Good morning, Clara.
Hi,
Nice
Sue.
to see
I'm so
you.
glad to meet you in person,
You
finally.
know, this is a beautiful house. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank
but we'll
you.
have to see if it's this beautiful house that's been giving you so many problems.
I'm looking forward to it. I see you brought your kit along. It looks heavy.
Yes, it's full of goodies. Do you mind if I put it here?
No, not at all.
And let's start in the basement, and then we can work our way up.
Good. Follow me.
As part of the assessment, Sue examines every section of the house, looking for a wide variety of symptoms that are linked to indoor environmental problems, including excess moisture, standing water, dust, and soot. She also looks for signs of safety problems, like fire hazards or things that could cause someone to fall.
Well, I have 2 dehumidifiers down here, but my grandson empties them every day because I can't carry them up the stairs.
Well, that's good, though, because, you know, it doesn't seem too humid down here. I suspect he's emptying them enough that it makes a difference.
He comes every day.
Oh, he must be so happy that he lives nearby.
Yes.
It's a good thing that you don't have carpet on the concrete here.
Why? I was going to have one installed. It is so chilly down here.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. If moisture gets between the carpet and the concrete, it could grow mold.
Well, I'm glad you told me. But what can I do? It is so drafty here.
Well, you see that window over there? There is a small crack between the molding and the foundation, and that would need to be caulked. And I imagine that's true for other windows, too. So have your grandson go to the hardware store and get some caulk.
Okay. Are there different kinds?
Well, for concrete, there's polyurethane, and for outdoors, you would use silicone, and for indoors, you would use silicone and latex.
Rita's son, Tony, is an 8-year-old boy who has been having breathing problems for quite a while and was diagnosed with asthma. So the doctor put him on medication. But we are here to try to find out how we can eliminate those asthma triggers from his house so he doesn't have to use the inhaler that often. Especially this is a concern since money is tight on them and it's very hard to keep up with doctor's bills and prescriptions. Hola Rita, soy yo, Alex de la oficina de extensión.
Mucho gusto.
¿Cómo estás?
Bien, gracias.
Hola Tony, ¿cómo estás?
Good.
Your mommy told me that you have been having breathing problems, so we are here to try to help you out.
Okay.
Since the Hernandez family lives in an apartment building and doesn't have access to the basement, all of Alex's assessments are from within their living space.
We've already done a few things, like the doctor told us. Remember, we're renters, not owners, so we don't have as many options. But we did remove the big rug in Tony's bedroom and left the bare floor, which I vacuum every day. And I also told my husband that he can't smoke inside.
Oh, he smokes. Well, that's important to keep outside. Also, does the dog ever sleep on Tony's bed?
Yes.
Okay, you want to try and keep Chester out of Tony's room altogether, at least for a while. See if Tony improves. Pet dander could be a big trigger for asthma. Try to get them to play outside instead of inside. That could make a difference.
These heating pipes were covered with asbestos. But when my husband was alive, he had it removed by a special crew.
Oh, so they must have been wearing respirators and special suits.
Yeah, that was 10 years ago. It was quite a sight.
This must have been where your carbon monoxide problem was coming from.
Yes, thankfully they discovered the leak and they tell me that everything is fine now with the exhaust. But, it was disconcerting to find that there was poison gas in my house and no one could smell it.
I can imagine it was disconcerting. But Clara, have you ever heard of radon?
No.
Well, radon is a carcinogenic gas. It's also odorless and tasteless, and it seeps into people's basements from deep underground, which is why I'm concerned, because this is an old house, and, there could be leaks that we don't see. So what I'm going to do is set up a radon detector here so we can see if you have a radon problem. I'll be back, and I'll help you fill out the form. We'll send it to a lab for testing.
Okay.
Rita, usted puede hacer inquilinos.
Even though you rent, there are things you can do to make sure your home is healthy and safe.
Por ejemplo, usted me
You already mentioned removing the big rug.
Eso está muy bien. También debería tratar
You can install a carbon monoxide detector right here.
carbono. Por ejemplo, aquí.
Is this a good place for one?
Yes, it's close to your sleeping area. Before you buy a detector, though, contact the Housing Codes office in the City Hall and ask if carbon monoxide detectors are required in apartments here in the city. If they are, you can ask your landlord to install one, and that way you won't have to worry about the cost.
That's a great idea.
Y trate de mantener
And you can always keep your home free of things that could cause people to fall and break a leg or hip. Let's move this before someone trips.
And I told him to put this away in his room.
How old is the paint on these windows and walls?
I think about 40 years old or perhaps more.
Okay, we should assume, just to be safe, that the paint may have contained lead. Now, if it were deteriorated, the paint would be considered a hazard. Even paint that's intact can generate dust from the window edges scraping together from their opening and closing. That means that lead dust can accumulate around the window and on the floor. Any hand-to-mouth contact could lead to lead dust ingestion.
Oh, that could be bad. My youngest grandchild is about 2 years old and loves to play by the window.
Later on, I'll show you how to clean the floor under the window to keep the dust to a minimum. You may also consider getting the walls and the windows scraped and repainted. But make sure you hire someone who's been trained in lead-safe work practices and repairs the paint in a proper way. It'll be safe as long as the paint stays in good shape. If you want to check that the work area is free of lead dust, you could use a kit that you can buy from a hardware store or hire professionals to do it for you.
Bueno, si ve estos pequeños rastros.
Okay, see the little bits of mold growing on the windowsill? The spores can get into the air and spread all over the house.
Mira, aquí también.
Look, it's also here in the grout of your shower tiles. You want to make sure that you scrub this away wherever you see it. Check the kitchen for mold, too, and look for it in the same places every few days.
Would it help to open the window to let out some of the moisture?
Yes, that's important to do. It'd be better if you had an exhaust fan, but when you don't have one, open the window a bit.
There doesn't seem to be any mold on the window. That's a very good thing. But there is a lot of dust here. Allergens like pollen, dander, and dust mites can accumulate in the dust.
I didn't know that.
And there's one other thing. You may need to escape through an upstairs window in case of a fire or an emergency. So it's a really good idea to keep a rope ladder nearby.
That's a good idea.
A rope ladder usually costs about $40, and some people even make their own. This simple thing can make the difference between life and death.
And do you ever have problems with bugs in the bathroom or kitchen?
Sometimes. We live 2 doors down from a restaurant, so there always seem to be some. But we make sure that we do all the dishes before we go to bed. It helps.
That's good. That way you can avoid using chemical pesticides. But if you still have problems, using sticky traps will be effective in catching unwanted pests. There are other things that you can do to control pests without harsh chemicals. I'll leave some brochures on integrated pest management with you, because actually cockroaches can be another allergen that could make Tony's asthma worse. After the bugs are gone, keep up with good cleaning practices to keep them away.
I never imagined cockroaches would affect Tony's breathing.
They sure could.
Do you ever help your parents to wash the dishes? No? Why not?
Here is the first category of problems that Sue and Alex have been looking for: radon, carbon monoxide, asbestos, and lead. Radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas that comes from underground. It can get into any home, regardless of age or building materials used. Radon is odorless and tasteless. You won't know you have it in your house unless you test for it. Prolonged exposure to it can lead to cancer. Test kits for radon are available from many hardware stores. All devices that measure radon should meet the Environmental Protection Agency's Measurement Proficiency Program or state certification program requirements.
Well, now that the radon detector's been here long enough, I'll just take the form you filled out and I will put it in this bag, drop it in the mail for you, and you should be hearing back from the lab soon.
Okay. I'll call you when I get the results.
Great.
Radon leaks can be minimized or prevented by sealing any visible cracks in the floors and walls of your foundation, and by caulking and sealing gaps in crawl spaces. These steps are combined with a special system that pulls radon from underneath the floor and sends it up a pipe that travels out of the roof of the house. You can find out more about the dangers of radon and how to get radon test kits by calling this phone number or going to this website. The next concern is carbon monoxide, which is also odorless and tasteless and occurs anytime there is a substance being burned for heating or energy. Gas furnaces and boilers, wood stoves, coal stoves, kerosene heaters, even your car or your cooking grill. Most people won't be immediately aware of carbon monoxide problems because symptoms of exposure are very similar to other ailments: headaches, dizziness, fatigue, and flu-like symptoms. Overexposure can be fatal. This is also why it's important to have an exhaust fan above gas-burning stoves and ovens. Properly vented stoves send carbon monoxide and other combustion pollutants to the outside so that these toxins don't build up inside the home. Carbon monoxide detectors are available, and it's recommended that you install one near your sleeping area. But these are no substitute for the most effective way to prevent carbon monoxide poisoning. You can eliminate carbon monoxide problems by making sure that any combustion units are vented to the outdoors and serviced by a professional every year. For more information about carbon monoxide, call this phone number or visit this website. In addition to radon and carbon monoxide, older homes can potentially have occurrences of lead in house paint and of asbestos insulation, particularly around heating pipes. Both of these dangerous materials were banned from consumer construction in the 1970s. But if your home was built prior to that, you may have concerns to address. To positively identify lead-based paint and asbestos in your home, you will need the help of a qualified professional. Make sure you don't expose yourself, or especially children, to peeling or chipping lead paint, because dust from the paint can be inhaled or ingested by a young one. And make sure that remodeling or maintenance work disturbing old paint is done in a lead-safe way. Seek out instructions on how to keep your windows clean and free of paint dust so that you minimize everyone's exposure. And it's a good idea to put a doormat at every entry to the house. That way, any lead-contaminated soil can be scraped off people's shoes before they come into the house. In addition, lead is sometimes present in old water pipes. The lead in the pipes most often contaminates the water when hot water runs through them. If you can't get your pipes replaced, make sure you either drink bottled water or only use cold water from the tap for drinking or cooking. Anytime water in a faucet has not been used for 6 hours or longer, flush your cold water pipes by running the water until it becomes as cold as it will get. It's also a good idea to make sure that your hot water thermostat is not set to anything higher than 120 degrees Fahrenheit. This not only reduces lead from being released from the piping, but also is a preventive measure against hot water burns. For more information about lead and asbestos and what to do if you suspect their presence in your homes, call these phone numbers or visit these websites. These first few dangerous materials are things that will be hazardous to anyone's health. But there are other concerns, depending on your age, allergies, and strength of your immune system. These pollutants relate to breathing problems and asthma and can be dangerous. This second category of concerns related to allergies and asthma are mold, dust mites, pet dander, and cigarette smoke. Mold can grow wherever it has favorable conditions, moisture, a nutrient source, and the right temperature. Mold spores are always in the air. They affect many people's breathing, sometimes without them knowing. Although mold can never be completely eliminated, it can be drastically reduced by keeping areas dry, clean, and well ventilated. This includes making sure that your bathrooms and kitchens are cleaned, wiped down, and disinfected with soap and hot water regularly. Also, exhaust fans should be run in bathrooms, especially during showers and baths. And the vents from clothes dryers should be cleaned regularly and well maintained. If you have a basement with dampness problems, it's best to run a dehumidifier or two and make sure they're emptied regularly. If you have a sink or floor drain in your basement, you can place the dehumidifier so that the hose empties into it, avoiding the need to carry tanks up and down your stairs. Of course, you must make sure the sink and drains are open and freely draining. If you need additional information about mold in the home, call this phone number or visit this website. Next up is dust. Although most people don't realize it, in addition to what we track into our homes from the outside, a large portion of indoor household dust is composed of microscopic dead skin cells which naturally flake off our bodies without us knowing. These skin flakes are the main source of food for dust mites, microscopic bugs that exist just about everywhere that we do. Many people are allergic to these dust mites and don't know that they live in their bedding, on their floors and rugs, and in the air. Like mold and mildew, it's impossible to eliminate the presence of dust mites completely, but we can drastically reduce their food supply by keeping our homes clean and the relative humidity low. This involves not only dusting our apartments and houses regularly, but also having a doormat at every entry to the house, sweeping and vacuuming often, and changing our bed sheets and blankets regularly. You can find out more information about dust mites and allergies by calling this phone number or visiting this website. Depending on your lifestyle or family situation, you may smoke or have others in your home who smoke, or you may have a pet or two in the house. Both smoke and pet dander can be common triggers for allergies and asthma. These health problems can be reduced by making sure that smoking is done outside. Although many children love their pets, kids who sleep next to their pets may have more frequent breathing and allergy problems. If there is a problem, try to prevent the animals from sleeping on the bed at any time of the day, or restrict their activity to rooms other than the bedrooms. For more information about the dangers of secondhand smoke and pet allergies, contact these sources. A third category of concern for Alex and Sue was home safety. Preventing fire hazards, having easy escape routes in case of emergencies, keeping your home safe from slips, trips, and falls. These are all basic safety steps that we can take in our homes every day. As a precautionary measure, be sure to check your smoke detectors regularly and replace the batteries twice a year. Do that when you change your clocks in the spring and fall.
Hi,
Sue.
Hi, Clara.
It's good to see you again.
It's been 2 weeks. Hard to believe, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly is.
And how have you been?
I've been great.
Good.
After several weeks, both Sue and Alex check back in on our homes. In that time, both Clara and Rita have used checklists to go through their homes and make changes and improvements to keep their homes healthy.
The furnace.
The furnace, okay. I want the furnace, and I know that you have that checked.
Sí, y me aseguraré de cambiar las sábanas. Yes, I make sure I change the sheets every 3 days now and that the dog doesn't sleep in his room. My husband only smokes outside now and we don't use any aerosol cleaners anymore. These things have made a big difference. He has only used his inhaler once this week.
That's great to hear.
Do you feel better now, Tony?
Yep.
Just make sure that you help your mom and your dad cleaning. They cannot do everything by themselves.
Oh. I got the radon results back. The report reads 1.3 picocuries per liter.
Oh, that's great. It's well below the EPA action level.
What's that?
Any level above 4 picocuries per liter is when the Environmental Protection Agency recommends that you take action to handle a radon leak.
So is my home safe?
It is, and you might want to have it tested again in a few years.
I'm so glad you came. I've learned so much. Thank you.
I'm so glad I could help you, Clara, and I'm glad your home is healthy. And, if you have any questions, please feel free to call me. You have my number.
Yes, thank you.
Take care.
Muchas gracias. Que
Gracias
estén
a
muy bien.
usted, igual.
Ciao, Tony. Bye. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye, Chester.
There are countless ways to maintain or improve your health and safety by the way you keep your home. If you need any other help besides the resources provided in this video, contact your local cooperative extension office or your local health department. Thanks. I'm Joe LaQuatra, and remember, your health starts from inside your home.